In the spring of 2026, the Strait of Hormuz has become the world's most claustrophobic choke point. Following a series of devastating military strikes that began on February 28th, the narrow waterway, through which 1/5 of the planet's crude oil and liquefied natural gas, LNG, must flow, has been effectively padlocked by an Iranian blockade. As global energy markets convulse and Western powers scramble to respond, the channel has been transformed into a no-go zone for international commerce. Yet, amid this high-stakes maritime siege, a single, impossible silhouette recently appeared on tracking monitors. The Nord, a 142-meter, 465-foot superyacht of gargantuan proportions, did not just skirt the edges of the conflict. It sailed directly through the heart of the restricted waters. Its successful transit from Dubai to Muscat, Oman, represents more than a luxury voyage. It is a calculated demonstration of how specific political alliances can render a global blockade invisible. A floating fortress of opulence, the Nord is a vessel designed to be seen, not to hide. Valued at upwards of $500 million, 370 million pounds, it is a multi-decked marvel of German engineering that rivals the displacement of a small naval frigate. According to specifications from Superyacht Times, the ship is a James Bond fever dream brought to life, featuring an oversized swimming pool, a custom-built submarine, and a helipad capable of receiving guests far above the waterline. There's a staggering irony in such a conspicuous asset navigating a zone where Tehran has warned that any vessel approaching the strait would be targeted. While the United States Central Command, CENTCOM, defines the blockade starting point as further east than the Nord's last reported location, a jurisdictional discrepancy that suggests the U.S. is struggling to define the very boundaries of the crisis. The yacht's route tells a different story. Marine traffic data reveals that the Nord utilized a specific corridor typically reserved for vessels crossing with the explicit, prearranged agreement of the Iranian authorities. While global shipping lanes are currently a graveyard of canceled routes, the Nord moved as if the blockade simply did not exist. The Steel King, Alexei Mordashov's power play. The man behind the Nord is Alexei Mordashov, Russia's wealthiest national, with a fortune estimated by Forbes at $37 billion, 27 billion pounds. Mordashov is no mere billionaire. He is the architect of Severstal, Russia's mining and steel behemoth. In the structural reality of modern geopolitics, his control over the raw materials of industry makes him an indispensable pillar of the Russian state apparatus and a vital ally to Vladimir Putin. Because of this proximity to the Kremlin, Mordashov has been a primary target of Western sanctions since the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. To keep the Nord afloat in a hostile legal environment, his team has employed a masterclass in jurisdictional arbitrage. Although Mordashov is the recognized power behind the boat, the Russian flag vessel was officially registered to a firm owned by his wife in 2022, creating a paper shield that has largely held up against international seizure efforts. The straitjacket, a global human cost. The Nord's freedom of movement stands in visceral contrast to the paralysis of the global economy. As of mid-2026, the blockade has triggered a dangerous standoff involving the U.S., Israel, and Iran, pushing Brent crude to a staggering $109, 80 pounds a barrel. In Washington, the political fallout is immense. President Trump recently canceled planned negotiations in Pakistan, signaling a breakdown in the diplomatic machinery required to reopen the channel. While the Nord enjoys its submarine and helipad, the squeeze on the ground is becoming unsustainable. In the United Kingdom, the surge in fuel prices has moved beyond a mere line item on a budget. It has become a systemic crisis. Home care providers have warned the BBC that the cost of petrol has reached a breaking point, forcing essential workers to abandon their roles because they can no longer afford to drive to their patients. For these citizens, the war in the Middle East is not a distant geopolitical abstract. It is the reason they cannot afford to heat their homes or keep their jobs. The Shadow Alliance, a moving billboard for diplomacy. The Nord's safe passage is the byproduct of a burgeoning strategic partnership between Moscow and Tehran. This week, The diplomatic optics were made clear in St. Petersburg, where President Putin hosted an Iranian delegation led by Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Photographs shared by Araghchi on social media showed him smiling and shaking hands with Putin and Sergei Lavrov, the image of a unified front against Western pressure. Recent events have evidenced the depth and strength of our strategic partnership. As our relationship continues to grow, we are grateful for solidarity and welcome Russia's support for diplomacy. Abbas Araghchi, Iranian Foreign Minister. The Nord is effectively a moving billboard for this alliance. Its transit serves as a signal to the West. Russian interests are protected by Iranian guns. By allowing Mordashov's asset to utilize a sanctioned corridor while targeting others, Tehran is demonstrating that the Strait of Hormuz is no longer a neutral international waterway, but a sovereign gate they can open or close for their friends. A masterclass in evasion. The Nord's arrival in Muscat is the latest chapter in a global game of cat and mouse. While other assets have fallen, such as Mordashov's 65-meter Lady M, which was impounded by Italian police in 2022, the Nord has remained untouchable. It has successfully navigated the legal gray zones of Hong Kong and the Maldives, moving towards safe havens in the Middle East and Asia that lie beyond the reach of Western maritime law. This movement represents a broader trend among the Russian elite. The migration of wealth to jurisdictions where the US dollar and EU law hold no sway. By hopping from Dubai to Oman, the Nord is exploiting the limits of Western influence in a multipolar world. Conclusion: the new rules of navigation. The journey of the Nord signifies the birth of a two-tier system in international travel and trade. On one level, the world's energy supplies and the budgets of average citizens are held hostage by the rigid lines of military blockades and sanctions. On the second level, a protected class of individuals moves through these same restricted zones with near total impunity, shielded by the strategic partnerships of their governments. As the Russo-Iranian bond deepens, the Nord poses a provocative question to the established international order. Is maritime law still a universal standard, or has it been replaced by a system of invisible permits granted only to those with the right political pedigree? In the 2026 landscape of the Strait of Hormuz, wealth and alliance haven't just bought luxury. They've bought the right to sail through a war zone as if the world were at peace.